Hey everyone, welcome back to the channel. In today's video, I'm going to walk you through a full long $3,000 setup that I executed across two funded challenge accounts, step by step. First, we'll break down the full trading plan, the why, where and how, and then I will show you the actual live footage of the trade being executed. Stick around because there are some key lessons in both the planning and the execution you don't want to miss. If you want to catch these trades as they happen, I stream every day at 9:30 a.m. New York time. Let's get started. Going into this trade, I was watching during pre-market hours the price sweep in liquidity below these Asian lows. The current Asian low that started at 8 p.m. during the previous day and that basically closed at midnight when the next day opened. So this is something that I look every day during pre-market hours. This is how I prepare my trading plan. I want to see how the Asian range was traded. I want to see if any lows have been taken pre-market so I can prepare. Maybe we're gonna see a reversal because this is usually what happens. You see the Asian being traded, we take the low or the high and we move higher or lower. This is a high probability type of setup. That's why I'm always going to prepare myself for this during pre-market hours. And as I was watching pre-market, I was seeing that they took out the low and then they took the previous day's low. Meanwhile, they were hitting the first standard deviation of the current session. That was a main trigger for me. I was like, if you already have done and swept all this liquidity in and pushed into a discount type of zone, my main idea was to go long the first time I'm gonna keep PDRA in form of an order block or a fair value gap that I'm just gonna go long because I'm looking for PDRAs. I can also right now, as it's hitting this one standard deviation, I can just buy as this candle is closing. I have a confirmation of a bullish. However, my stop loss would have to be pretty long. So if I'm gonna go long at the close of this candle, which is 18,693, I'll have to pick the low of this one, which is 594 and 74, as you can see at the top right here. So basically my stop loss would have to be pretty high. It would be more than $2,000. This is something that I don't want to do, and what I like is just waiting for a PDRA in form of a BC, or in this case a BC because we're going long, or at least an order block or a breaker. In this case we had all of them, which is why I had a conviction to go pre-market. Usually I wait for the silver bullet at 9:45 or 10 a.m. but I was trading these funded challenge accounts. There was a sale on Apex, so I'm pushing more trades that are a bit risky, but I have a long, like a big stop loss, but also a big profit, a big benefit when I'm trading them. So I'm trying to sort of get into this type of trades as well when it comes to trading big accounts. So I had a stop loss, I had a profit target. It wasn't so much as gambling as much as it was a more riskier trade. Now, and I'm saying riskier not because the idea was not solid, because you never know what's gonna happen at the open or which kind of news are gonna be hit. Now, moving into a smaller time frame, after we took out all this liquidity, we left some wicks here, but what's very important is you see institutional auto drill also when the liquidity is being taken. So they left this wick here, the bodies, they still stay inside this range, right? We're moving on to a 15-minute chart, and before the open, we see this beautiful fair value gap on the 15-minute. Meanwhile, the bodies of the candles, they stay inside the half portion of this fair value gap. That was a clear conviction for me. I started trading. However, I was not pretty much successful because I wanted to be very tidy on my trade. But I consider that regardless what's going to happen, I'm going to be bullish for the day. And yeah, that was the main conviction for me. I'm just going to use this fair value gap. This low is going to be the ultimate stop loss. And basically what I want to target is this liquidity up here. and also the second standard deviation. You have 1, 2. Obviously, as I was streaming, I was thinking we're gonna take these lows as well, because that was the ultimate target, this relative equal highs here. I apologize. However, that happened only at 4 o'clock, so you had to wait a bit for those. And when you're trading live, trailing drawdown, any profit can transform itself into a loss, any unrealized profit actually. So every time I'm taking a high, I'm taking partials, and this is something you're gonna see in the video as well. But yeah, the idea was solid, execution was bad, result was good. Sometimes in trading, you're gonna have a good idea, you're gonna execute it bad, or you're gonna have a bad idea, but you're gonna execute it well, you're gonna get out early, you're gonna still get out with a profit, even though you're against the trend. That's trading. It's not always gonna be perfect, but at the end of the day, the P&L, the profit for the week, for the month, is gonna tell you if you're a profitable trader or not. And that's what's the most important thing. Obviously, I'm a perfectionist, so I'm always gonna be looking for everything to run smoothly, but I learn from my mistakes, and this is something that I encourage everyone to do, or at least to try, because it's not always easy. Now, one more thing that I want to show you is that we have also a bullish breaker on the 5 minute around here. Basically, you have a low, a high, a low, low, a higher high, and this breaker is being respected as the price is hitting it. So that we had so many convictions that the price is going to go higher. So at the market open, I was expecting a push, which is something that happened. Also here you see there are so many signatures in price. You have this inversion fair value gap. Over here, respecting price, you have this fair value gap. Respecting price. Yes, the bodies of the candles, they're not staying inside the range. However, the low of the candle was not taken, right? And they were forming here some relative equal highs. So when the market opened, I was quite certain we're gonna go in the right place, and I placed myself along inside a 1 minute inversion fair value gap, if I'm not mistaken. I'm gonna show you in the video as I play, but yeah, I just wanted to show you basically, yeah, I traded inside this inversion fair value gap on 1 minute. Right here. Let me delete this one so you can see it. So the price was respecting before the open, it touched, and then it went. And this is where in pre-market I decided to go long. I was not worried about this. I didn't want for this to be respected. I wanted for this relative equal lows to stay the same, because the price had something else in mind, and that's what I was thinking about too. But yeah, now let's jump into the video, and yeah, we'll talk some more. During the video, you're gonna see that I'm gonna be switching from micros to minis and so forth, because I'm always curious about the volume imbalances that are being formed on the E-mini. Micros I'm using only for executions. As you can see here, I'm annotating also the fair value gap in form of a BC. I wanted that to be a breakaway gap, but I wanted to show that that was my intention for the price to do. Here, as you can see, I'm switching on the micro, I apologize. And we have already a short-term high being taken, but it was not taking as much liquidity as it is now. Now the price is pushing at 930, and we are already profiting like $500, and my stop was already very, very tight. Like my risk at this point was about $60, which is nothing comparing to the profit that we were about to take. Yeah, it's a bit nerve-wracking if you're thinking at the open the prices continuously comes to your entry and your stop loss. However, I had a good conviction. I was risking only $60, and I was just happy to watch the price move. Obviously, you're watching at all these different time frames. You want to see how the candles are aligning. You're taking notes, as I'm doing all the time. I'm looking, okay, we have those relative equal highs on the 5 minute. We have that fair value gap on the 15 minute. However, the price was pushing, and at this point, when you see so much conviction in price, you move your stop loss. And this is what I did. And I was already deciding, okay, I'm going to start taking partials because I have a live trailing drawdown, and we already touched those relatively critical highs on the 15-minute. Now, as the price was moving up, I was annotating the first presentation of fair value gap, and I was noticing that we had a lot of volume imbalances on the 1 minute, but I was also noticing this fair value gap formed on the 1 minute time frame. That's where I decided, okay, if that wants to become an inversion fair value gap, because we have run this price and we have all this liquidity here, I just want to start taking partials. And I was left basically with 3 contracts. Now my main idea was like, it's a big account, $150,000 account. I'm gonna let this trade run and see if it's gonna reach the previous day high. However, I'm gonna start to minimize the damage and basically use PDRAs in my advantage, which at this point was this order block and below that fair value gap on the 1 minute that I told you earlier. Now the price just started pushing. It was only 10 a.m. My conviction was already we're gonna reach the previous day's high, because as you can see, I was already selecting the profit target. However, at some point I was thinking like, okay, if I'm just $100 away from my profit, I might need to start taking some partials, because it's not necessary for me to be that nimble. The trade idea worked. I'm close to my profit target. I don't want the market to turn on me, considering the whole day. Think about it. It's just 10 a.m. and the price had moved like more than 150 points. That's a lot in just 30 minutes of the opening. So with that in mind, I started taking out the highs, and I was already watching all this fair value gaps formed on the 5-minute chart, and I was thinking like, that's so much liquidity. If they want to dump the price now and just go for the previous day's high during the PM session, that can happen. And at that point I was like overthinking a bit, and I had only 1 micro, but at the same time I had $500 profit on each account. So bear in mind, I was already almost 2.5k in total on both accounts. I was looking on the daily. I was trying to further confirm my bias, which is something that when you're in a losing trade, it's not good. But when you're in a winning trade and a price is moving in your favor, it's something you should always confirm. Now we're taking another high, but we're leaving a lot of fair value gaps behind. I'm annotating inversion fair value gaps, and basically I was just trying to find a way to stay into this trade, even though I was just like $30 away from my profit targets. That's why I closed the trade very soon and just decided to watch the market. But I was very happy with my execution. I was very happy with how everything panned out. Maybe I wanted more patience on my part and maybe a bit more size, because that was the kind of day that I could have just hit the profit target of 9,000 and basically get funded on these 150k accounts, which are massive ones. You have a lot of drawdown. You can just trade micros on it and basically just scale out in time. But yeah, I was happy in general because I realized what was the trend, how the market was about to move, the fact that it was about to push, because we were consolidating for the past 3 days, and that means that I'm improving my trading. It's also a joy when I'm live trading. I have people watching me, and I still stick to my ideas without overthinking like, okay, now people are watching me, maybe I should not take this type of trades. But it's part of the journey. I'm happy to be here. I try to have a long form type of content. Thank you very much for watching, and see you in the next session. That's the full breakdown. Would you have taken this trade? Let me know in the comments below. What would you have done differently? And if you want to catch these trades live, make sure to subscribe and turn on notifications. I stream every day at 9:30 a.m. New York time. Thanks for watching. Stay safe.